Good morning, day and night, you 64 square legends. The game of chess will never be the same. Prior to the arrival of computers, one can undoubtedly say that every chess move ever played was the product of the human mind. Nowadays, the best chess players are no longer comprised of flesh and blood, but of machine and nerve. Chess computers such as Stockfish, Komodo, and AlphaZero have changed the landscape and are more publicly available than ever before. As a result, the sheer number of individuals that choose to abuse this commodity and cheat has never been higher. It's currently December 9th, 2022, and we're just shortly removed from the Magnus Carlsen, Hans Neiman sex toy saga that has commanded the world's attention these past few months. The scandal itself saw a soft resolve on October 4th, 2022, when Chess.com released the 72-page Hans Neiman Report. The report was an incredibly comprehensive effort, and it managed to concretely address two major points. One, that Hans Neiman lied, and in fact appears to have cheated in several Chess.com online prize events. And two, that there is no direct evidence that Hans Neiman cheated against the world champion, or that he has cheated in other over-the-board games. Without going into too much detail, it's safe to say that Chess.com did an incredible job of delivering the goods. Hans Neiman was called out for lying about his cheating history, but also vilified with regards to his over-the-board play. The report even went as far as to include a full 14-page exhibit with screenshots of a real-life email conversation between Chess.com's Fair Play team and an unnamed Super Grandmaster cheater back in July of 2020. In the emails, the Super GM is questioned over several days and eventually breaks down and confesses to having cheated in one of Chess.com's online events earlier in the year. These emails are surprisingly raw, and the only thing keeping Chess.com out of a class action lawsuit are a series of black text boxes safeguarding any personally identifiable information from either side. A Super Grandmaster or Super GM is an unofficial title given to a player that has achieved an ELO rating of 2700. And of the tens of millions of active chess players in the world today, there are only about 30 or 40 players at or above this level. That's a pretty small list. And when you bump that list up to the information available in the Hans Neiman Report, the list becomes even smaller. So much smaller to the point where I believe Chess.com has made a huge mistake and has opened the floodgates for Boy Scouts like me to uncover the truth behind the secret identity of this Super GM. Let's get started. I began my investigation by compiling any and all vital information presented to us in the Hans Neiman Report. Through my initial sweep, I was able to ascertain the following. Number 1. Chess.com insinuates the cheater is nearly 2700. Number 2. The Super GM cheater is clearly not a native English speaker. Number 3. The emails took place from June 30th, 2020 to July 8th, 2020. Number 4. The account was closed and a new account was approved. Number 5. The new account was banned from cash prize events on Chess.com for 1 year. And number 6. Individual cheated in a 10-game online event prior to the email exchange. Keeping all this in mind, I then copied the 2020 June and July FIDE Top 100 Players list into Google Sheets. It's worth noting that the top player is rated 2863, while the bottom player is rated 2648. Given that Chess.com clearly states this player is near 2700, it's safe to say our cheater is on this list.
That's a bingo!
In addition to the FIDE web data, I also inserted additional columns off to the right that will flag whether a player has met any of the 6 criteria I just previously laid out. Fairly simple thus far, but now is where the grind truly begins. I then spent hours on hours scraping Chess.com for every single player's Chess.com username, account start date, and native language. Using these bits of information, I figured it would be easier to narrow down to a smaller subset and then deep dive into the other criteria from there. And let me tell you, the strategy worked tremendously. Now, my friends, it's finally time. Time we uncovered the truth. Time I shut up. In time, the wannabe Excel spreadsheet speaks for itself.